Blake Lively just freaked out after a judge dropped a bombshell decision about her deposition. Her texts and footage completely contradicted her claims. Then she made it worse, subpoenaing over 35 small creators, sparking global backlash as critics, media, and even the court accused her of lying and abusing her power. Blake, who spent months playing victim and hiding behind a legal circus, couldn't even face the music. Want to guess what she did next? Yep, she postponed her deposition again for the second time because clearly when it's time to show up, Blake ghosts harder than a guy who forgot he ever matched with you on Tinder. We're not even talking about a private delay behind closed doors. No, this is an all eyes on you moment. And she bailed. The same Blake who's demanding transparency and justice couldn't even walk into a room and answer questions. And now her entire PR game, the image of America's wittiest wife, the stylish, activist, the woke queen, it's collapsing. Media outlets like Daily Mail and Radar Online, who used to eat out of her hand, are now calling this mess a full-blown PR disaster. And they're right. People inside the industry are whispering, no, actually shouting that this is career-ending. When even your fans start exiting the group chat, that's when you know you're cooked. And let's talk about this sad little witch hunt she's launched online. Blake isn't just beefing with Baldwin anymore. She's subpoenaing random creators, like it's a neighborhood garage sale. At this point, she subpoenaed 15 YouTubers and 20 X-users. Most of them don't even have a big platform. Some have under 20,500 followers. Some aren't monetized. Some literally make zero. Like, why are you chasing after people who couldn't afford a Big Mac right now if they wanted one? The spiritual shift. A licensed attorney who publicly said she's never made a cent off her coverage. No ads, no sponsors, no donations, just vibes. And Blake decided she was a threat worth subpoenaing. What's next? You going after people on Reddit for breathing wrong. And here's the kicker. Some of these subpoenas were sent after the legal objection. Deadlines had already passed. That means these creators didn't even have a chance to defend themselves. It's like Blake woke up and said, you know what? I think I'm going to mug the First Amendment today. Eric Schiffer, a PR expert, literally called it nuclear overkill. He said Blake now looks like a toxic diva mugging the First Amendment. And honestly, that's the nicest way to put it because what she's doing is the textbook definition of celebrity bullying. She's demanding their IP addresses, home addresses, PayPal receipts, and banking info. For what? For publicly talking about her? Make it make sense. You can't call yourself a women's rights advocate, post about female empowerment, and then turn around and legally stalk women online because they posted commentary you didn't like. That's not empowerment. That's ego in a cocktail dress. Now, let's rewind to July 17th, the day Blake was supposed to finally show up and be deposed by Brian Friedman. But did she? Of course not. She canceled it hours before it was scheduled, and her legal team had already flown into New York. This is the second time she's pulled this stunt. First it was June, then July, and now, who knows, September, Christmas. Maybe 2026, when she drops her next brand of overpriced fizzy water. Her excuse this time? She didn't feel safe. As if Brian Friedman is some alleyway goblin? Girl, you walked red carpet surrounded by paparazzi your whole life. You hosted the freaking Met Gala. You really want to tell us you don't feel safe in a conference room full of lawyers? Let's be real. She just didn't want to face someone who wouldn't coddle her like a Vogue cover shoot. What's even worse is her team tried blaming the Jed Wallace dismissal for why she couldn't be deposed. First of all, Jed's dismissal had nothing to do with Blake's own deposition. Zero connection. The judge didn't say, hey Blake, don't show up. He dismissed Jed due to jurisdiction. That's it. It's like using a parking ticket in Texas as an excuse to skip jury duty in New York. Doesn't fly. Ron Zambrano, one of the few straight-talking lawyers in this circus, saw right through it. He called Blake's behavior exactly what it is. a delay tactic dressed up as drama. It's not scared. She's stalling because the second she sits down under oath, the whole "I'm the victim" narrative shatters like a wine glass at a Real Housewives reunion. And now we hit the Jed Wallace twist. So, for 7 long, expensive months, Blake tried to convince the court that Jed Wallace was some kind of puppet master behind a bot-driven smear campaign. Problem? She never had proof. Like, not even a fake screenshot or a bad Photoshop. Just vibes and paranoia. Judge Louis Lyman finally said enough is enough and dismissed Jed from the case, citing lack of New York jurisdiction. That's right, Jed lives in Texas, and somehow Blake's legal team spent over half a year trying to drag him into a courtroom he legally doesn't belong in. That's thousands of dollars burned just to have the judge say he doesn't even go here. Even better, the dismissal was with prejudice, which means she can't just refile the exact same garbage in New York if she wants to keep going after Jed. She has to haul her circus tent down to Texas, hire new lawyers, and try to convince another judge that her case is worth hearing. Good luck with that. And this wasn't just a courtroom. Oops, this ruling completely wrecked her deposition timeline. Suddenly, people who were supposed to be in the room for the deposition weren't needed anymore. Others were flying in. The whole thing turned into a logistical disaster. And whose fault was that? Blake's is? Because if you're building your case on legally shaky nonsense, don't be shocked when it blows up in your face. So, here we are. A jury decision that rattled her image. A postponed deposition that exposed her cowardice. A subpoena spree that made her look like a rich school bully. And a case collapse that's unraveling by the hour. Blake Lively isn't trying to clear her name. She's trying to erase anyone who dared to say it out loud. And people are catching on. She's not America's sweetheart anymore. She's just a celebrity having a meltdown. And we all got front row seats. Judge Louis Lyman has officially had it. You could literally feel the secondhand embarrassment leaking from the courtroom walls. The man is presiding over a circus. And at this point, he's no longer pretending. To be amused, his face might as well be a meme. Why am I even here? And when Blake's lawyers tried to pull the "but she's a celebrity" card again, Judge Lyman shot back with "celebrity can be fleeting." Translation: sit down, shut up, and stop wasting my time. And he's not wrong. Celebrity absolutely can be fleeting, especially when you're torching your own brand, like it's a bonfire for narcissists. Blake's team really thought they could waltz in with a couture attitude and get special treatment. Instead, the judge basically said, "This isn't David versus Goliath. This is Goliath versus Goliath 2. Meaning, both of you are rich, powerful, and exhausting me. Let's be real." Blake didn't walk into court. She stumbled into it while holding a mirror. And when it came time to ask for more deposition hours, the answer was a hard no. Federal law says you get 7 hours. That's it. You're not filming a rom-com, Blake. This isn't an extended director's cut of your sob story. Lyman drew the line, and it was glorious. Ron Sbrano chimed in with a reality check. If Blake gets more time, everyone will want more time. Then what? Legal anarchy. Depositions that last longer than a Netflix series. No thanks. Lemon's trying to run a courtroom, not a therapy group for Hollywood egos. He made it clear. Follow the rules, finish the job, and stop treating my courtroom like your publicist's office. And while Judge Lemon is over it, so is the internet. Because now Blake's not just attacking YouTubers in the US, she's crossing international borders. To subpoena people in Europe, her team actually tried to drag creators like Sashlo into court, completely ignoring EU data privacy laws like they don't exist. They exist and they're strict. Like billion-dollar fine, strict. Blake's lawyers somehow thought they could just throw a US subpoena at Google and magically get data from European citizens. But Google's response? Absolutely not. They warned Blake's legal team that going forward would violate European data protection laws and they could face serious consequences. Meanwhile, Blake's camp got caught flat out lying on tape, claiming those subpoenas were fake. That's right, so they called them scams until they got exposed. Can someone please remind this? Woman, she's not in a scripted drama. This is real life. Now she's being called a mutant privacy predator. Not by trolls, but by actual legal analysts and media outlets. Because, let's be honest, what else do you call someone who tries to subpoena the private info of vloggers with 800 subscribers? She's dragging hobbyists into federal court like it's a sport. This isn't justice, it's a vanity war. And her goal isn't truth, it's domination. She wants to bury her critics, silence dissent, and flex her wallet like it's a sword. Content creators everywhere are sounding the alarm. She's weaponizing her wealth in a way that makes Lex Luthor look subtle. She's not using the law to protect herself. She's using it to punish anyone who dared to comment on a public case involving public feelings and public people. It's a literal attack on free speech dressed up in designer hypocrisy. Which brings us to the public image disaster that's unfolding like a bad sequel. Blake used to be seen as America's sweetheart. She was the queen of cool girl elegance, rom-com royalty, married to Deadpool himself. Now she's being called Big Brother Blake, and the fall from grace has been brutal. PR experts are calling her behavior brand suicide. That's not a spicy headline. That's a literal quote. Her entire vibe was, she, the wholesome entrepreneur, the bubbly feminist, is now melted into legal Nepal. You can't claim to support women and then hunt down female creators for expressing opinions. You can't call yourself a mental health advocate and then serve subpoenas to podcasters who made less money last year than your nail technician. Even her own supporters are fleeing. Reddit threads are dry. Twitter is ghosting. And as Sashlo put it, she's got maybe 3 supporters left out there. That's not a community. That's a group chat nobody opens. And let's not forget the headlines. Daily Mail, the same outlet that used to fawn over her brunch dates and wardrobe choices, is now dragging her. They said, and I quote, Blake's attempt to control the narrative is now controlling her downfall. That's poetic. You couldn't script that better if you tried. Radar Online didn't hold back either. They called her behavior pure harassment and warned of irreversible reputation damage. Not mild damage, not fixable with a new stylist. Irreversible as in good luck booking that next campaign. You think luxury brands want to touch someone suing micro-influencers and lying to Google? And then there's Emily D. Baker, one of the most respected legal commentators on the internet. Her take: Blake's subpoena spree is going to be the biggest backfire in celebrity legal history. That's a strong statement, but she's not wrong. Instead of silencing critics, Blake just gave them a global spotlight. Every creator she's tried to silence is now louder than ever, with thousands of new followers backing them. You can't gag the internet, you can't subpoena curiosity. And here's the truth, Blake's legal team doesn't want to hear. Every single move they've made has made things worse. The courtroom antics, the privacy invasions, the false narratives, the dramatic filings, it's all unraveling. Her fans are leaving, critics are multiplying, and the people she tried to bury, they're thriving because nothing builds credibility faster than being targeted by someone with $1 billion smile and $1 million grudge. The judge is over it. The creators are done. The media is laughing. And the internet never forgets. Blake Lively didn't just destroy her brand, she turned it into a meme. And not the good kind. May 23rd, 2025. Remember that date? Because it might go down as the day Blake Lively accidentally nuked her own credibility. On that very day, the one she would later point to as the source of her onset trauma, she texted Justin Baldoni and said he was terrific. Not only that, She added that she was proud of everything we did today. Like, girl, what kind of alleged? Victim thanks their supposed harasser with a heartfelt compliment and an emoji-level warm hug in text form. Let me break this down for the folks in the back. She claimed that Justin harassed her during filming on May 23rd, but on that exact same day, was texting him like they were castmates on an inspirational after-school special. No shade, no hesitation, no signs of any discomfort. The woman basically handed the opposition their closing argument on a silver platter with receipts. But it gets worse because apparently Blake didn't know that the behind-the-scenes video footage from that day had audio. Rookie mistake. Total amateur hour. The video shows her and Justin dancing, laughing, just to people vibing on set, like professionals. No red flags, no awkward tension, no hint that something weird was happening. It's not just harmless. It looks straight up cheerful. And now critics are calling it the smoking gun that proves what many suspected. Blake Lively isn't just stretching the truth. She's fabricating victimhood like it's a role she cast herself in. And if the emotional manipulation wasn't enough, wait until you hear about the financial hypocrisy. This part is so bloated with contradictions, it practically writes itself. So Blake claims that thanks to Baldwin's alleged smear campaign, her hair care brand Blake Brown lost between $56 and $70 million in potential value. That's a pretty big number to throw around, especially when you refuse to open your books and prove it. Her legal team wants the world to believe that her brand tanked solely because of negative publicity. Not because maybe, just maybe, nobody wanted to buy $90 conditioner with her face slapped on it during a public meltdown. And yet at the exact same time, she was supposedly being destroyed by Baldwin's words. She was starring in and executive producing It Ends With Us, which made bank at the box office. You read that right? The movie was a success. Critics reviewed it. Audiences showed up and her face was plastered all over the marketing. So if her public image was so badly damaged, how come people still showed up to watch her cry on screen? Make it make sense. Can't be both the victim of a character, assassination, and the star of a financially successful feature film in the same breath. Pick a lane. Baldwin's legal team asked for her net worth records to test whether she actually suffered any measurable loss. The judge denied it, called it irrelevant, which is cute because if your entire argument rests on the fact that your empire was torched financially, then maybe, just maybe, your personal financial status is kind of extremely relevant. But no, Blake's team wants to have it both ways. Cry economic ruin, but refuse to open the vault. And again, she's not claiming that her film career was destroyed. She's not suing Netflix or Lionsgate. She's blaming Baldwin for the fact that her hair care line and fizzy drink collection didn't sell like they were supposed to. Newsflash, the market spoke and it said, nah, and now here we are. The final stage of the Blake Lively legal implosion. We've reached full meltdown status. This is no longer a case. It's a collapse. It's from chasing hobby vloggers with subpoenas to contradicting herself with her own texts and dodging every ounce of accountability. Blake has managed to take a manageable PR crisis and turn it into the Titanic of celebrity lawsuits. What began as a personal dispute is now a cultural flashpoint. She didn't just file a lawsuit. She declared war on freedom of speech, on creators, on transparency, on anyone who didn't fall in line with her curated narrative. She weaponized her platform not to uplift, but to silence. And the backlash, it's biblical. Every creator she targeted has now amplified the backlash tenfold. Their subscriber counts are rising, their videos are going viral, and the public is rallying behind them like it's a digital revolution. Even creators who weren't involved are now stepping in, covering the case, and dragging her choices into the spotlight. Blake thought she could use the legal system like a megaphone. Turns out it's a boomerang, and nobody is buying the act anymore. Not the fans, not the media, not the court, not even her former defenders. Her carefully crafted image, the fashion icon, the girl boss entrepreneur. The relatable mom has crumbled into a meme with legal fees. Judge Lyman doesn't even hide his exhaustion anymore. Journalists are openly questioning whether she ever come back from this. And influencers, they're eating this up like popcorn at the theater. Because when someone this rich, this famous, and this calculated melts down in real time, you don't look away. You document it. And the final word on all of this, Blake didn't just sue the internet. She declared war on it. She took her millions, her legal team, and her crumbling brand, okay? And tried to crush ordinary people under the weight of her ego. And she's losing badly. Her tactics backfired. Her evidence fell apart. Her reputation took the kind of hit no stylist, no makeup artist, no Vanity Fair cover can fix. This isn't a PR fumble. It's a detonation. What makes this entire mess even more infuriating is how Blake tried to cloak herself in activism just months before this meltdown. Remember her teary-eyed interviews about women's voices being silenced? About standing up against systemic abuse? Now she's literally trying to bankrupt creators who spoke about her case using public court documents. That's not activism. That's hypocrisy on heels. And let's not ignore the sheer privilege here. This isn't some underdog trying to clear her name. This is a millionaire married to a millionaire launching legal missiles at everyday people for having opinions. Some of the subpoenaed creators didn't even make money from their content. No ads, no sponsors, nothing. Just passion. And that was enough for Blake to treat them like threats. Meanwhile, her silence is deafening. No apology, no clarification, no "I see how this looks." It's just a wall of lawyers and a growing pile of bad headlines. You'd think someone with decades of media training would understand damage control. But no, she doubled down. And now the backlash is writing its own legacy. She didn't just destroy her case. She destroyed the illusion that she was ever the good guy. Blake Lively tried to silence the internet. Now the internet is silencing her. Subscribe for the full breakdown and hit the bell so you don't miss what's coming.